like a little sunshine. Got sand on your feet and a big bass line. Moving slow cause we got time. You sparkles out, party at mine. Check out the view, shades low. Started at 2, now we're good to go. Come to my party, all of your friends are here, and we're all smiling ear to ear. Come disappear. Let the love and sound surround you. 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 100 lives, a million ways. Let the love and sound surround you. I'd take flight with our heels to ground. We move in sound. Stars are out and drinks flow. The girls play hard and the boys all know. Cocktail twist in a silver sun. You can text me later, room 501. Killer whips and a kick drum. Waste it away on sea, sand and sun. Midnight approaching, all of your friends are here, and we're all smiling ear to ear. Come disappear. Let the love and sound surround you. 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 100 lives, a million ways. Let the love and sound surround you. Joy-filled nights with a lost and found. 100 lives, a better fate. I'd take flight with our heels to ground. We move in sound.
Twelve rounds, ding ding. Sick and tired of the whole damn thing, yeah. Stick a move in the ring. You can hit me with the words you fling. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. Be lucky if I stick around. Maybe foolish, but I ain't a clown. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, 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 no. Got the belt like a king, heavyweight champion of the whole damn thing, yo. Full of gas, full of spin, Jekyll and Hyde, you're the evil twin. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, you're never gonna. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. Be lucky if I stick around. Maybe foolish, but I ain't a clown. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, 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 no. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. Be lucky if I stick around. Maybe foolish, but I ain't a clown. No,
Keep myself in the dark, shadows watching over me, over me. You flicked the switch, made a spark. From then on I wore my heart upon my sleeve. With you I bear all the scars. I was left with paper skin. You let me in a different home, broken start. Baby, where do I begin? I begin rising up. We touch the sky. Won't be promising that I won't ever let you fall. We could build unlimited stories high if we played a game, just you and I. Whoa, like a house of cards, house of cards. Hey, when it all comes crashing to the ground, we can start again and work it out. Like a house of cards, house of cards. Hey, you found me after the fire, like a diamond in the rough. We're strong enough, raising the beds, pushing higher, risking everything for us. It's all for us. Rising up, we touch the sky. Won't be promising that I won't ever let you fall. We could build unlimited stories high if we played a game, just you and I. Whoa, like a house of cards, house of cards. Hey, when it all comes crashing to the ground, we can start again and work it out. Like a house of cards, house of cards. Hey, keep rising up just to fall down. 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 Down. We could build unlimited stories high if we played a game, just you and I. Whoa, like a house of cards, house of cards. Hey, when it all comes crashing to the ground, we can start again and work it out. Like a house of cards, house of cards.
Hello once again and welcome to EPT Retro, where we take a look back at the early seasons of the European Poker Tour, coming to you live from Jimmy's Bicycle Repair Shop in London. Joe, we've got authentic sound effects today because literally 5 minutes before coming on air, an angle grinder started up outside. So I'm really going to sell the myth that I am actually running some kind of store that repairs people's bicycles.
Angle grinder sounds like a name for an old school poker player. There was an angle grinder. It's like, what was his name? The guy from Tony Kendall is outside grinding angles.
I am James Hartigan. He is Joe Stapleton.
What is happening? Hello, my babies. Good morning.
How are you doing, sir?
Okay, I'm fine. Question: I didn't actually check in with you. I know you're a big nerd. Did you have a good Star Wars day? Did you guys celebrate in Star Wars fashion?
I did nothing Star Wars related for Star Wars
Oh,
Day. To be all honest, in all honesty, I do want to check out the making of The Mandalorian, which has more episodes than The Mandalorian does. So that should be an interesting series to watch on Disney Plus.
what?
Our
Oh,
focus.
just Star Wars Disney squeezing every last drop out of the material. Not at all like us replaying old TV shows
not
and
at all.
trying to get new eyeballs on.
Not at all. And we've already reached the year 2009. We are already in the Bahamas for PCA 2009. And we're going to start things today. In fact, the only event we're going to cover today is the World Cup of Poker. An event, Joe, which at the time many people ridiculed. There will always be a very special place in my heart for the World Cup. It was the first event I did for Stars on TV back in 2005. Terence Chan and I then did it in 06, 07 and 09 in the Bahamas. We were the original partnership, I guess, that used to do the live streams for this event. And the World Cup, I guess the thing I like about it looking back now is it brought together different types of poker player, because each team, each nation, made up of 5 players from each individual country, had a celebrity player, either a Stars ambassador or a celebrity from that
You're
market.
saying there's such a thing as an Italian celebrity?
Luca, Pagano, Hugh Bucks,
Okay,
Broncos.
never mind.
So it's either a big name pro from that country or a celebrity from that country, combined with 2 prominent pros, and that was judged by, do you remember the old tournament leaderboard on Stars? Do you remember the TLB? So whoever was at the top of the TLB for those countries, which is why you see players like Sean Deeb and Benzamani in the field, and then the final 2 players from each country were selected from random free rolls that were run. So you had a lot of people who weren't particularly proficient and maybe hadn't even played live poker before. So you get that interesting mix in the teams of 5. Most of
Not interesting, like just ridiculous, really, is better than interesting.
Okay.
Just an insane mix.
It is an insane mix, but a fun mix, and I think it made for some fun content, which we're going to see today. Granted, we join it in the late stages. So the group stages of the World Cup, the preliminary rounds were all played online, and it was the final 9 countries that got to come to the Bahamas and compete in the World Cup.
All 279 countries in the world came to the event.
Can you imagine?
Only the final 9 we're covering today.
Can you imagine if everyone got to come to the Bahamas? No, only 9 teams got to come. And they played a series of heats. So with 5 players in each team, they played 5 9-handed sit and goes effectively. Points then decided how many chips they brought into the final table. So after 5 heats, the stacks are set. And just to give you an example, Joe. So after the 5 heats were played, it was the United Kingdom, it was Great Britain that came out on top. So Great Britain had a stack of 50k for the final table. On the flip side, Canada had the least number of ranking points after those first 5 heats. So Canada had the shortest stack, 25,000. But you don't start with 50k because remember, there are 5 players in each team, and only 1 player competes at any given time. So from the UK, for example, the first player brings in 10k, the second player brings in 10k, the third player, and so on and so forth. So you can't go broke during the first 4 levels. Because if you do go broke, the next player just comes in with their new stack. Does that make sense?
Yes, but also no.
Crucially, everyone gets a chance to play, and the stack is increased incrementally with
That
each
makes
new player
sense.
coming in, right?
Yeah.
So I remember when we live streamed this in early January 2009, and we showed the whole thing. The TV show is very much showcasing the late stages, and this is showing it after everyone has had a chance to play, and all the chips are now in play, and already,
Okay.
if we check the stacks here, we can see that Canada are already in the danger zone with just 8,600 remaining. Then we have New Zealand, Germany and Mexico all bunched up around the 30k mark. Italy and Latvia tied on 37k. USA just shy of 40k. Poland with 45,000. By the way, at this point, Poland are not the reigning champions. The USA are the reigning champions. So Costa Rica won in 2005. Poland won in 2006. The USA won in 2007. And now we have a situation where we're going to decide the 4th World Cup of Poker winner. And Great Britain currently have the chip lead. Is it all making sense? Have I somehow managed to communicate this really complicated, bizarre format with an element of clarity?
May the 4th World Cup of Poker be with you.
And on that bombshell, let's get to the action from the Bahamas. And yes, those are the stacks as we join the action. And right now we've got Daniel Negreanu at the table representing Team Canada. Blinds 200-400 with a 25 ante. There's Vicky, who is captaining the GB team.
What's so weird about this, James, is that I would have ripped on this so hard at the time, and now it like warms my heart.
This hand Great Britain started us off under the gun. They're going to fold. Daniel's going to get us started with an 875 chip raise.
That's right, 875. Bring some of that. Come and get some.
Oh, Daniel.
Come on now, German. I know you want me. I know you want some of this.
I know, you just made your first mistake.
Really? You're coming?
Probably.
You guys, this is why Daniel's a star, from doing stuff like this.
That's just what the German said. What does he know? Out of there. Go on. I'm not saying it's like a bad thing. Okay.
Italy passes.
James, I'm going to go back to bed.
Poland's got the
Okay. I'm
button.
going to play with Latvia because Latvia is calling. Sorry.
Poland passes.
No,
Latvia
Latvia, no
passes.
Latvia.
Lee Nelson and
Come on,
New Zealand
New
in the big
Zealand.
blinds.
There we go.
It's a 475 chip raise.
So Lee Nelson is captaining the New Zealand team. He's got ace-king in the big blind. Daniel has opened with king-queen. Remember, Canada are the short stack.
New Zealand announces all in. Re-raise.
Please refer to him as Captain Lee Nelson from now on, please.
We want to win this thing. We got to gamble. Why are you doing that? That's so mean. Ugh. He's all in, right?
Do I just miss Daniel so much, or is he just really, really likable?
7, 76, 77. Okay.
I mean, you
let's
can just
Do you have
see why
ace-king
he's
or
such a
ace-queen?
superstar. You just love him.
For sure, no. No ace king, no ace queen. He might have ace jack or ace 10 or pocket sixes. Okay, I'm putting you on none of aces, kings, queens, ace king or ace queen. If I'm putting you
Okay,
on
maybe
that,
now
you
it's
cannot
time
fold.
to move it
I
along.
don't think you have any of those hands. Call.
Daniel's read is wrong.
Dang it! Good guess. Good guess. I can't.
King, queen.
You don't even mind, though. It was so entertaining. Who cares if it was wrong?
All right. Any queen will do the trick.
By the way, if he had been right, this clip would be way more memorable.
Nelson and Team New
Ace of
Zealand have
diamonds.
the ace of
We would have
hearts.
seen
Ace
it.
of diamonds, king of hearts. How's that?
Daniel Negreanu, Team Canada are at risk for their World Cup lives with
top
King of Hearts and the Queen of Clubs.
Ah.
Let's see the flop, please.
We deserve some luck considering how unlucky we've been. What do you think?
King of spades.
King, 3, 4.
We flopped the
King of
too.
spades, 3 of spades, 4 of diamonds. Eliminates all the flush possibilities.
James, how am I supposed to
Team
get through
Canada
this
is
whole
looking for
show
ladies, looking for queens.
with no
Let's
more
see the
Daniel
turn card,
Negreanu?
please. Turn card is the deuce of spades.
I'm sure you'll find a way of
I don't even
coping.
have a spade for a sweat.
We're going to need a queen on the end, or Team Canada is going to finish World Cup in 9th place. Let's see the river card, please.
No, I was just starting to enjoy him.
No queen on the river. And remember, this is a free roll for all these teams. The prize money donated by Stars, $5,000 to be shared amongst the 5 members of Team Canada for their 9th place finish in the World Cup of Poker 2009.
So this jackass just eliminated his whole team?
Correct.
Oh, with King Queen. Come on, Daniel. Not everyone on your team was rich already.
And then there were 8, still at the 200-400 blind level. Sadly, Ali Najad and Daniel Negreanu couldn't be here today. But you have got at least the 5th or 6th best commentators they could find.
Man, oh man. That's awesome. Ali Najad. What a guy.
So yes, Lee Nelson of Kill Phil fame, ace-6 here, captaining New Zealand.
Was he one of the authors of Kill Phil?
Yeah.
1,050. Folded to the USA on the button.
Now, you
Wasn't
might
Blair-
recognize
Blair
the
Rodman
face
the other half?
of the German player. Malta Strassman made a deep run in EPT Barcelona at the start of Season 5.
Germany on the small
When you say
blind.
you may recognize him, you mean the audience, right? Because I don't, there's no,
Italy's going to pass the big blind. We're going to be heads up on this flop between Germany.
you could have told me the dealer was who you're talking about, and I'd be like, okay, I don't.
It's a king 4-3 flop with 2 spades.
James, how do you feel about the backwards fanning? The king from right to left. Will you allow it?
I've seen worse flops.
New Zealand's going to bet 1,850.
All right, Lee Nelson taking a stab at this, drawing pretty thin.
Just a little poke.
Exactly. Just the old New Zealand poke, that's what we call this. I'm sorry, there's one Lee in my book, and it's Jones. Get this Nelson guy out of here.
One of them was never a member of Team PokerStars Pro.
That one I know. That's Lee Jones was never a PokerStars Pro.
Correct.
And PokerStars used to have team pros from every country in the world. 296 team pros.
New Zealand bets 3,550.
Oh, James, it makes my heart hurt thinking about it. Like, imagine a world where online poker needs a pro from New Zealand again. What a dream. Strassman clearly going nowhere with top pair.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how I feel about the second barrel from Nelson.
River's the 9 of spades.
Look, you got to barrel twice if you're going to represent the flush draw.
They will check.
Will he do it? Will he pull the trigger on the double barrels? Greg Raymer's face, amazing. Is that the real Raymer or is that a poster? I can't even tell.
It's the real Raymer. Greg is the captain of Team USA.
How is he? How's he even that low?
Well, clearly there was limited space on the bleachers, so he sat on the floor.
He's sitting on. He's a world champion, James, and he's sitting on the floor.
New Zealand bets 10,000.
10K, the bet.
James, if this works and Strassman folds, you have to apologize to Lee Nelson. There's no two ways about it. $10,000 a call, 23,000 out there. He's got more than 10K, right? Like, this isn't all in to call. You gotta call this. You got top pair. Who folds top pair?
We're now in 2009, Joe. HTC syndrome has officially died out.
It doesn't matter. This is bad. This would be one of those situations where it's bad to fold.
But every decision you make is not just affecting you, it's affecting your team, your country.
That is true, and I can see why. Look at this. You might disappoint Jan frickin' Heitman. You don't want to do that. So yes, there is something to that, to the fact that you are going to be scrutinized a little bit more for your decisions here, especially back in this era. You don't want to be the guy that obviously makes the call at top pair when you're obviously against a flush.
I call.
Well,
Okay.
he reaches the conclusion that it's a spot where he must call. Got there eventually, Joe. And Lee Nelson's triple barrel bluff is picked off by Malta Strassman, and Germany take a pretty big pot off New Zealand.
Good news, you don't have to apologize to Lee Nelson.
And Jan Heitman and the rest of the Germans on the rail can celebrate.
James, Jan Heitman is being a Jan Hype man.
Yes, he doesn't need you. Okay, so I mentioned that Victoria Corrin is captaining Team GB. They entered this final table with the chip lead. And she has raised.
I know we don't get into this too much because it's not what this show is about. But Vicky Corrin, beautiful woman in a sports jersey. We love it. Let's leave it there.
She's raising with 9 deuce. Called by Jorge Lozano. from Mexico, who's got 9-8 of hearts.
How do you even know? Like, you're just like, 9-8 of hearts in the small blind, not a standard calling hand. Somehow got Vicky dominated.
Patrick Sluserek from Poland calls as well. 3-way to the flop. So Lozano from Mexico, Joe, is one of the players I was talking about earlier who free-rolled his way into this event.
They will both check. Over to
You love to see it. Is he by any chance from the same place in Mexico that JC Alvarado is from, New Mexico, Mexico?
I don't know, but we will be seeing JC later on because he's the captain of Team Mexico.
I love it. And yesterday was Cinco de Mayo, James, a holiday that means absolutely nothing to Mexicans, but we here in America pretend like it does so we can eat tacos and drink tequila. It's a hell of a day.
So Vicky has continued here, gets a call from Lozano with the flush draw. Sluserek folds, so it's Great Britain versus Mexico going to the turn.
turn is the ace of spades, ace, queen, queen, 5, and 2 spades, 2 hearts on board.
Lozano checks a second time, and this is a great card for Vicky to rep.
He's going to bet 5,000.
We know it's a great card for her to rep. Lozano makes the call. I love it. Board is paired. Who cares? You have a 9-9 flush draw. Who cares?
Question is, what if the river is not a heart?
Deuce of diamonds.
I was really hoping I didn't have to answer that.
Checks.
Take the showdown. You're good.
So funny. That she's good either way.
Showdown value now. 2 pair.
He says she's got 2 pair. 8-9 of hearts for a hard draw for Mexico. Deuce 9 off. Deuce on the end.
Great look back at the rest of the English rail.
Don't be cross.
I'm so in love with Vicky and I don't care. Oh my God, my heart's racing right now.
Embarrassing.
So Britain extend their lead close to 75k. Germany in second after that pot between Strassman and Lee Nelson. New Zealand now the low stack at the table, 18,775.
Uncle Jonesy on Twitch says, I'm a bar trivia host and a pretty smart guy, but only Connect liquefies my brain. That's the, I can't, what am I, I'm not allowed to call it a game show, right? What's
Quiz
it
show,
called?
quiz show.
She does say it could be
Quiz
9
show.
She's just warning everyone.
That Vicky hosts currently.
Is Uncle Jonesy saying that it makes his brain hurt?
Yeah.
To shout at your own team.
No, but not the same way that
Hopefully calling. You shouldn't, you know.
pastries make Lee Jones's brain hurt.
USA says that when they cough fish, it's actually a code to 3-bet.
Oh,
So, Germany has, well,
All right,
not
Neil,
even
calm
announced that
down.
it's not. It was legal before you told me. Germany has also called. Only 4 spectators per hand, please. USA,
Well, I forgot, this is the World Cup of Poker, so all the goofing around, all the, this time it's actually like not horribly inappropriate.
It is a huge free roll. It's meant to be a bit of fun, but you know, you've got people still playing for tens of thousands of dollars. So Vicky's open with 4s. Called by Jared Gabin from the USA with King Queen. Called by Malta Strassman from Germany with 9-7 of clubs. And this is the Latvian captain, Kristianis Jurds, who's re-raised with 10-9 off.
I like how so far there's like players that just have so much respect for their team's chips.
Yeah.
And players that just don't give an S at all. He's like, yeah, 10-9 offsuit into 3 opponents. No bigs.
So again, Joe, Jared Gabin here from the USA. He works in the computer industry, and he is an online qualifier for this event, and this would mark his first ever live cash.
That is fantastic. Good for him.
I'm squeezing.
You don't want
He's
to
looking way too relaxed.
say that, but
Germany says
luckily you're up
Latvia
against
looks way too
9-7.
relaxed, and he's going to pass. Latvia takes the pot.
Show the bluff. It's good for the game.
I mean, James, there was a team from frickin' Latvia.
Good for the game. Latvia says no.
Well, bear in mind, at the start of this competition, there would have been teams for every country in the world. But after the group stages, which were played online, 9 countries made it through to the final in the Bahamas. So Latvia clearly put up a good showing. through the early rounds of this contest. And they're now second in chips. 8 countries remaining.
Too bad that Canada had the donk Daniel Negreanu on there and just ruined it for them.
Yeah.
All right, Great Britain and USA are going to be in the blinds.
It's almost as if I were the cameraman, James.
So bear in mind, we're going to see substitutions. So we're going to see other players coming in as new levels start.
Germany's going to pass over to Italy.
Look at this handsome lad. No, play a hand, you little hottie.
All the way around to New Zealand on the button. Yep, he's going to pass.
So now we have Lawrence Houghton playing for Great Britain and Greg Raymer, the American captain, playing for Team USA.
I wish he were literally an American captain, just like took a boat to the Bahamas.
5 deuce versus 9-8. The Brits just want to bluff. You love to see it. Ace, Jack, 10 with 2 spades.
I mean, look, I feel like there's something a little bit more to pulling off a bluff in the World Cup of Poker, right? Like, oh, I bluffed America. I went to the Bahamas with a dream, and that was to bluff the entire country of Latvia.
Yeah.
One more time to the turn.
They both think they're bluffing.
Diamonds, ace, jack, 10, 7, 2 spades on board. Great Britain is first.
Hello, Gregory.
Great Britain checks.
Adrock asks, what year did Greg win the main event? 2004. So this was 4.5 years, nearly 5 years after his victory at Binions.
Great Britain raises to 8,500. United States
Oh,
says
Greg.
all in. Great Britain will pass.
You can't really blame him for thinking that maybe Great Britain, Houghton, had a hand, but
He did not. Greg had the straight, raised with it. Blind's currently 400, 800 with a 75 ante.
again, I don't know if this is like quarantine nostalgia, but like I miss this event. Like I'm like, oh my, I would do anything.
I
to
actually,
have another fun event like this.
obviously before we started, I kind of like just took a brief look through the video.
Yeah.
And so many great memories came flooding back. And you're right, Joe.
Yeah.
There is a sense of nostalgia vision. There is a sense of kind of quarantine-affected memory. But I was thinking, we've got to bring this back. We need to make the World Cup of Poker a thing again.
It's just fun, you know? Like, and not that, look, some events do a great job of being fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying other events aren't fun. But this just has like a certain vibe to it where there's money on the line, but everyone's having a good time. It really works for me, the vibe.
I think we all know the reason why it stopped being a thing, and that's because of regulations, licensing, compartmentalization of player pools.
Yeah.
I mean, this is still, just bear in mind, 2009, we're still talking about having American online qualifiers.
Right. And what a cooler we have shaping up here. Fives against queens, against aces. James and I are all like taking a trip down memory lane, holding hands, but we got a bona fide cooler.
Yes, absolutely. Well, there has been a re-raise, which has got rid of the ace-7, might get rid of the fives as well. Peter Schmidt, another free roll player, lets it go. So now it's back on Gerardo Villa.
Is he named after the soccer team? That's my question.
I don't think he is.
All in.
Italy announces all in.
I'm not sure that Juris Seychins can get away from queens here.
Look, Latvia didn't snap call, and I think, in my book, that makes you a winner. You're very likely to be a loser in the actual game of poker, but in my book, you're a winner for not snap calling.
I do think the fact that you have got 4 teammates impacts on your decision making. If it was just you, you'd probably like, yeah, let's go for it. But you're thinking do you want to be the one person in your team who does a Negreanu and ruins it for everyone else?
Yet somehow he's the only one to come out of this with a career.
Should point out that the teams have the opportunity to call a timeout if they want to consult the other members of their team.
This isn't. Why did you just say that about the timeout? Is that really unsubtle foreshadowing?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I'm just saying that that's one of the rules written in, that if I believe it's a one-time thing, that if you are faced with a particularly tricky decision, if you're worried about calling it off here with queens, for example, you can consult the rest of your team. You have 60 seconds to step into the timeout zone.
Here's what would happen. You call a timeout here. Your team goes, what are you doing? You have queens. Just call. It's okay. It's totally fine. You have queens. What do you...
Well, you're beaten by aces and kings, dude.
He can have jacks. He can have tens. He can have ace king. He can have ace queen. He has ace jack. Nines, even. Sometimes eights.
But you
possibly.
have to consider the relative inexperience of many of the players in this game.
Of course. No. I'm just saying how, in hindsight, it's an easy decision. What a great fold.
Yeah, he laid down the queens.
Mi sono ripreso quelli di prima.
What a great fold. Terrible fold, but great fold.
First, I know that word.
Really, really awful fold, but great.
But I don't understand.
The point I'm making about amateurs, though, if he looks back and thinks about how the Italian played it, it does smack of aces or kings. The fact that he just flatted the original raise, at the moment that he 3-bet with the queens, he then shoved. It does look suspicious.
It does look like it could be aces, kings, and also ace-king, a big part of that range, and you're not doing great against ace-king. So if you figure those are the three hands you're most likely up against, so that's most of the range, you can be like, yeah, all right, fine, I'm going to fold queens.
Maybe should have shoved. No one will call.
Over to Mexico.
Unless they have aces, they'll all fold.
Poland in the cutoff.
I'm assuming that the Stars and Stripes is waving on the screens in the background because Team USA are the reigning champs.
Great Britain's just
See, I should have shoved, right? Could you call?
I can't call. I'll be.
You couldn't call if I shoved, right? You can show. It's not giving away anything about your playing style if you show those two cards.
I have nine.
You had
Way to go,
nines?
Great Britain. You guys all tired after dinner?
Yeah, so you can call a raise, but not a shove.
Yeah, I can't call a shot.
So Team GB get a walk there.
The sick part would have been if I'd shoved, I would have had a bad hand, but it was still 2 overs, so.
So 2 members of the winning American team have returned. Greg Raymer, the captain, and Sean Deeb.
That's cute.
It is a hashtag fun fact to say that Sean Deeb has played in 2 World Cups.
Did you say fun fact or fun fat because they're American?
Fact.
All the way around now to New Zealand on the button. Going to pass just the blinds to Great Britain and the United
So
States.
Lawrence Houghton from Great Britain has ace-jack in the small blind.
You never return the favor, do you? We give you a walk, and then you raise my blind every time.
You can tell Greg's a lawyer by
Great Britain
trade.
does not feel like extending
26.
the walk. They're going to raise to 2,600.
It's not your normal number.
I'm out of position.
1,800 chip raise.
Oh wait, what's the blinds?
8.
4-8.
4-8.
That's it. It was because I put out the wrong number,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Don't do it.
United States is going to re-raise to 7,500 straight.
Well, this could get spicy.
4,900 chip raise.
Blind v blind, is there any chance this doesn't end in a flip?
Not, it doesn't seem like it, not in this format.
40.
I'm just trying to think. So in America, we would call it Flipsville.
32.
In the UK, it would be called the Borough of Flip. Hackney Flip.
I'm all in.
You say all in? Yeah. Great Britain announces all in.
Houghton shoves.
Well, let's see.
Especially given all this chat, I don't see anybody getting away from this. There's just too much. There's too much psychology at play, even though not really. But it's just like a big leveling war where you're just going to make the call at nines. I think. I don't know. We saw queens folded.
Few people have observed, by the way, that Greg Raymer is wearing his World Series of Poker main event bracelet in addition to the lizard specs.
James, he's not wearing specs. That's his face.
Well, he took them off because it's decision time. All in to call.
Oh, the external factors always make these decisions so interesting. That's why online poker is easier.
Right,
So
see?
online, I'm just looking at your range. Here,
The external
I'm like,
factors
well,
being the
I think he
pants.
thinks I'm weak because of the conversation that went on during the race. So that means he doesn't have to be as strong.
We got 1 minute left in this.
I really hate the fact that me and Greg Raymer have the exact same thought process.
Wow. Not getting much of a price. 42 to 157.
James, I think that if I had been around in this day and age, I would have been a Vicky Corin creep.
On my head, it could be a flip anyways.
It is a flip, Gregory.
There's Sean Deeb. Oh my goodness. Is that his grandma that taught him poker? That we've heard so much about? Or just someone else's grandma?
Probably a bad laydown.
Raymer folds the nines.
Oh, now I know it's a bad laydown. I played bad.
Great Britain is going to take this pot. That was going to be the last hand of this level, everyone. We are going to swap the mics around for the players here, and we're going to go on a 10-minute break.
So let's see what happened next, Joe. As they start a new level, we skip forward a few hands, and we see a new chip leader emerge. New Zealand are now dominating the World Cup of Poker. Italy second in chips. Great Britain have dropped down to 7th. Mexico, the shortest stack at the table, though, with 15,650. And the blinds are now getting a little bit tastier. And I guess we're rejoining the action for hand 112.
So, James, I'm sorry if you've gone over this already, but what was the protocol for who played when? Tap out whenever? Timed? How did that work?
With each level, a new player comes in. The actual running order is decided by the teams. The teams decide which order they want the players to go in. So JC Alvarado, captaining Team Mexico, has now come to the table.
Wait, so Daniel really did punt it off for his entire team?
Yes.
He probably gave them all money. I'm sure he did something nice.
So the rule is, by the way, that everyone gets to play once. After that, you can then just flip in, flip out with each level. So, for example, Lee Nelson took a level off but is now back at the table. As long as everyone else has had at least one level at the table, he can now play every other level, should he so desire.
Look, when you've got a talent like Lee Nelson on your team, you play Lee Nelson, right?
Meanwhile, we have an all-in here. Stephen Devlin from Northern Ireland, repping Team GB, has moved all in, and it's all in to call for Team Mexico.
From New Mexico, Mexico, JC Arvacardo. We've seen some really tight laydowns due to this team format. JC, I don't think, has a lot of options here, even between fold and call. I think it's just a call. We don't have a great cross-section of the hands here to understand dynamic and game flow, but I feel like given how short Mexico's stack is, you're like, yeah, whatever, let's go for it. Again, you got the whole team. You got Vicky Corin on the rail. You don't want to embarrass yourself. There it is.
JC Alvarado calls all in, and it is a flip. Mexico versus Great Britain. And Mexico are behind and need to hit to survive.
Great Britain is also in the lead with the sixes. Six of spades, six of clubs. Mexico is the king of clubs and the queen of diamonds. He's going to go watch the flop on the monitor over there.
I mean, that's the way to watch. Stand back,
Absolutely.
take it in from the screens, enjoy a beer. Oh, 6 on the
GG
flop.
Mexico.
You've got backdoor straight outs at this point in time. Top set has been flopped by Great Britain.
Backdoor straight chop outs.
No outs at this point in time. And Team Mexico go out in 8th place. $5,000 to share between the 5 members of that team.
Good news is you're in the Bahamas. JC's buying. Go have a good time.
No, I guess they're not throwing dead, but he's got to come running 5-7. Yeah.
So how was that? Change the standings with 7 countries remaining. New Zealand still out in front. Great Britain have moved up to 4th on the leaderboard. And we can see that it's Poland and Latvia and Germany to a certain extent who are a little bit short right now. Both Canada and Mexico cashing for $5K. The next team out, the next country to be eliminated, their team will share $10,000. And we've had a raise here from Zamani. What are you doing, Ben?
What are you doing, Ben? I love it.
It's a Queen 9-6 board. 2 callers in this hand. Heitman in the small, Pagano in the big. We've got the German and Italian captains at the table.
Somehow no one has a flush draw. Checks around. Oh, and there you go. Anyone have a flush draw now? I think so, right? Luca Pagano, ace of clubs. This is when you give yourself the little check, right? The little like, oh, I know I have a black ace, but is it the club or the spade? Did he look? I think he might have looked. Ah! Oh my God, why am I terrible at poker? But yet I know 2009 Luca Pagano so well. You got a pair of 9s. You got the nut flush draw. Come on, Luca.
Italy makes the call, 4,500.
What are you doing, Ben?
So Heitman has called. It's Pagano. Oh, sorry, Heitman was the better. It's Pagano who called. And now we see Pagano with a lock on this. With second pair top kicker. Heitman with just a pair of 4s.
Oh, and Heitman checks. Wait, what? You can't go into the tank when it checks to you. Okay, thank you.
Luca checks behind, and this pot will go to the Italians.
You know what they're going to do with that pot, James? Cook pasta in it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's the only time it's acceptable is during the World Cup of Poker.
And this is exactly why it's a good thing we don't still have the World Cup of Poker, so we don't get lame jokes like that.
Just wait to hear my Latvia material.
I was going to say, at best the jokes are lame, at worst they're just grossly inappropriate and xenophobic. So New Zealand still out in front. Italy almost tied for the chip lead, though. And Ben Zamani back in action.
Hey, Martin.
Now Latvia on the button.
James, I'm sorry I'm like beating a dead horse. This entire event is so freaking cute. They have their names embroidered on their shirts.
Yep.
Marcin has the word captain on his arm. Like, there was so much pride in this. This is freaking adorable. Like, somebody really cared about this event.
Flop is deuce of hearts, king of diamonds, jack of clubs.
Well, I'll tell you more about that during the break.
It's like, it genuinely, again, maybe I've been stuck in my house too long. I'm genuinely like touched
Check as well.
by
Let's see the
this.
turn card, please. Queen of diamonds.
And I
King,
certainly
queen,
would
jack,
have
deuce,
mocked
and
it
two
at
diamonds
other
on the board.
points. What do we got here? 10-9, that's a straight, isn't it?
Got a straight for Derek Morris from Great Britain.
Team USA is going to bet 19.
And here is a guy who earned his place on the British team by virtue of the tournament leaderboard. This guy is a proficient online player. So both he and Zamani know what they're doing.
Great Britain's going to raise.
Also earning his way in on a free roll is Derek Purr of Aces Morris.
3,000 more
We
to
actually have
the United
notes on these
States now.
players.
They're going to make the call.
I figured, knowing his results though, and knowing his final table appearances on Stars, I figured he was a TLB qualifier.
Well, maybe they called that a free roll. Technically, he didn't pay additional money to get into this, obviously. Everyone's on a free roll, more or less.
Well, this is just excessive now. He's got a 6-card straight. Zamani, third pair top kicker.
What are you doing, Ben?
Calls the 7K.
9-10 for a straight to the king. For Great
Does
Britain.
not
Team
want to get
USA
bluffed by a
surpass.
Brit and pays off big time.
A lot of rules to Great Britain poker, according to Vicky. We always have the best hand, and we always bet our ace-jack on the river. Got it. Provided it's suited, right?
Oh, Neil. Neil and Neil.
Oh, and there I was thinking that the plastic treasure chest was a one-time only deal in 2008. I was wrong. It also made an appearance in 09.
Latvia says raise, all in.
In
Latvia,
09, there was a heist at Atlantis, and people made off with it.
Latvia all in here.
I assume this gets called. Otherwise, why are we watching it?
No, there was a microphone. USA announces re-raise, all in.
Well, Latvia in blind. Did Jurj even look at the hand?
In the big blind.
Maybe not the best approach, but
Versus United States.
I don't know how they do things in Latvia.
All right, Latvia is the endangered team. They have the 10 of hearts and the 9 of diamonds. United
How
States
bad a
has
shape
them
can you
covered.
be against Ace Queen with 2 live cards, hopefully?
10-9 is the hand for Latvia. I think he may have been playing it blind.
Flop is deuce 3-8. No flush draws now. Deuce of diamonds.
Why did
three of clubs,
Greg
8 of
yell
spades.
no bad beats? But this was considered a bad beat back then,
Oh,
wasn't
absolutely.
United States is in the lead with an ace. Let's see the turn card, please.
Put a jack there.
it? Now it's a shrug, just go enter another tournament beat.
Latvia's still looking for a 9 or 10. They're going to need a 9 or 10 to double through here.
Come on.
Let's see the river.
Come on.
Ah,
So that will see Latvia eliminated in 7th place. They will share $10,000. That's $2,000 per player. And we're down to the final 6 countries. New Zealand still out in front, followed by Italy, Germany, Team USA in 4th. Britain have dropped down again to 5th. The short stack now is Team Poland with just over 20K. So are you enjoying the World Cup of Poker, Joseph?
I really am, like so much more than I thought I would. I'm actually enjoying this as much as anything we've covered this entire time at EPT Retro. I love the fact that we just, like that it wasn't even condensed into one show. It was
Yeah.
like, let's drag this out. I love it.
We love dragging stuff out. So yeah, so we're going to carry on with the action in just a moment with 6 countries playing down to the winning nation in the World Cup. The first time I did it in 2005, it was a series of heads-up battles, and they then corrected the format and did these kind of series of sit-and-goes with everyone getting a turn at the final table format, and that's the way it worked for the next few years. I should say that the World Cup of Poker was actually, I believe, the original idea, and certainly its biggest supporter was Isai Scheinberg, the founder of PokerStars. This was his pet project. He was a huge fan of it. And even though a lot of people thought it was a bit naff, quite complicated, and, you know, the novelty had worn off after the first couple of years, it kept going because it was Isai's baby. But I think he was right. I think we need something like this now because the camaraderie you get amongst the team members, the whole feeling of pride, the mix of pros, celebrities or ambassadors, and also the qualifiers as well, just gives a dynamic that's fresh, that's different.
Yeah, I'm really finding myself much more into this now than I ever was before. I definitely would have been one of those people who would have maybe thought this was cheesy or corny back at the time. I don't know what it is about our current situation, maybe playing into it as well, but it's just so like I said, someone obviously really cared about this event. Like this was really important to somebody. And of course, part of it is a money thing, right? Like the amount of money that everybody is already guaranteed probably wouldn't happen in this day and age unless there was some sort of poker boom again. But it just, everyone's just in a good mood. Everyone's happy. It's an overused phrase, but I am here for it.
Well, everyone loves a free roll, and all these guys have been flown to the Bahamas with a full package. They're guaranteed at least a small payout. Even if you finish in 9th place, you get $1,000 each. So what's not to like? And I think that's why you get that relaxed vibe at the table. As I said while we were talking about the first half of the final table, tough to do these days with the restrictions in certain countries and also the segmentation of the international player pool. But if we can find a way, I do think we need to bring this back in one form or another. So let's get back to the action at the World Cup of Poker from PCA 2009. We've got 6 countries remaining.
She has as many trophies as I do in tournaments. So.
And Sean Deeb is back at the table.
The World Cup of Poker would be really funny now. It would be like in seat 1, Canada, but we don't make a big deal about it. In seat 2, oh, it was going to be Australia, but nope. In seat 3, Pennsylvania. In seat 4, the UK.
U.S. will pass the small blind to Germany in the big blind. Germany says call. Let's see the hands, please.
In seat 5, Russia, and that's it.
Poland has 10 of diamonds, 6 of spades. Germany has the ace of hearts, queen.
So Poland all in with 10-6. They were short. Strassman on behalf of Germany calls with ace, queen of hearts.
Queen suited in hearts. Poland has the 10 of diamonds and the 6 of spades. Let's see the flop, please. Flop is 7.
Oh, another bad beat.
10 of spades, 7 of spades.
Marcin Horecki, the Polish captain, loving that flop.
Taking the lead with a pair of tens. Poland is also the only player with a spade in their hand.
Poland, you don't deserve this.
Jack of hearts. Jack of hearts. Jack of hearts.
Ace on the turn.
Germany has taken the lead back. Germany has taken the
Was
lead.
Germany regarded as a good poker playing country at this point?
Poland
Yes.
is going to need another 10 or a 6 in order to double through. Let's see the river card. River card's a 7 of diamonds. A big round of applause.
And that will see the elimination of Team Poland in 6th place. The team sharing $10,000 US, taking us down to the final 5 nations.
Welcome, sir. Team Italy, I presume.
Karl Marinholtz from Great Britain. Towering poker player.
He has a British face. He just looks sad.
He's also about 8'9". So Marinholtz opens on the button with jacks. Sean Deeb from Team USA moves all in from the small blind.
You gotta have jacks. No, from small against the button. We're in terrible shape.
Whatever. United States has the ace of diamonds,
Got it,
nine
Jim.
of spades.
Whatever.
Great Britain has two
Nice hand.
jacks, jack of
Sean
hearts,
Deeb,
jack of clubs.
even then,
So the spot we want is.
a bit of a sourpuss.
Yeah, he opened button, and I just jammed the previous hand.
All right, the United
Chance we got
States
against
is
Sean
the
Deeb.
risk
Win every
team.
year.
Great Britain has them covered.
I got Joe.
Ace
Great Britain's also in the
We're
lead
gonna need
with
some
two jacks,
diamonds
the
or
jack
some
of hearts,
Deeb.
the jack of clubs.
Who would have guessed at this point Sean Deeb would go on to be a more successful poker player than Greg Raymer?
Flop is king,
There's
8,
half of it.
9, king of hearts.
Okay,
Flop,
there's a
nine
9
diamonds.
for Deeb.
Eliminates any flush draws from the players.
10 makes a lot of difference.
United States has picked up a pair of nines, but the jacks
King
are
Queen
still
gets
in
that, we
the
know
lead.
that.
Oh,
Let's see the turn card.
Dude, how does he fold that? How does he do?
Turn card is a
Oh! Trip 9s on the turn.
That beats Lee Nelson's call by far. And it was a 9 of clubs, no less.
Have we not done enough damage to the UK
Wait, did you say no river jack though?
with our fast food restaurants and our television that now Sean Deeb has to knock out Carl Marinholtz as well? Oh, no, he's not out.
No, Deeb gets the double up for Team USA, but that is going to take a lot of Great Britain's chips.
That's how you run it.
Yeah.
James, would you be okay with calling it a Deeble up?
That's hilarious.
I'll take that as a yes.
The blind's now 1,500, 3,000.
Why even have blinds? It's just a bit of fun.
Ali and Daniel on the way, are they coming? No, I've been told they're not.
You can tune out, guys.
New Zealand's going to pass over to Great Britain. Great Britain's going to raise all in.
Nine and a half.
Oh, be careful, Greg Raymer.
Doesn't matter, I can fold.
Oh, I was just
9,600
about
is
to
the
big
all-in
you
for
up,
Great
Greg.
So Houghton all in with ace-6, Malta Strassman with ace-7,
I call.
Germany announces call of the
and that is a
9,600.
call.
It's over to Italy now. 6,600 chips.
It's
to
Domination Nations. No. Come on, Fabrizio. Fabby. Fabs. Fabster. Fabarino. Dabadoo.
Italy's going to pass.
I was running out.
So here we go. Great Britain at risk with ace-6 and dominated by Germany with ace-7.
A6 against A7. England is the at-risk team. Germany has them covered. England has the ace of spades, the 6 of clubs. Germany has the ace of hearts and the 7 of clubs. Let's see the flop.
Is it too late to explain to Neil Johnson the difference between England and Great Britain?
Flop is 10.
I've been told yes, it's too late. It's actually 11 years too late.
It's so too late.
Germany has picked up the draw for the 8.
I need like a deuce 3.
Let's see the turn card, please. Turn card is the 4 of diamonds.
That's
Neither
a-
player
that's a
has a
good card.
diamond in their hand.
There are a lot of chopportunities here.
Great Britain needs any card above an 8 to chop it. Anything else, they're going to be eliminated. in
Any
the
card but an
Let's
8?
see the river card, please. River's a 4.
The board does pair at Vicky's request, and this is going to be a chop pot. And you know what they say? Everyone loves a chop pot. World Cup edition.
He had 96. He threw it down.
I can't believe that guy's wearing a MAGA hat. Back in 2009.
You might have folded 9-10 jack, though, huh? No, not those either? So it's a good laydown.
Right there. Check it out. Time traveler.
Great Britain under the gun.
So 5 countries remaining. This World Cup of Poker played at PCA 2009.
I better move my chips then.
All right, United
As
States
ever, that
pass
event
to
hosted
Germany
at the
on
Atlantis Resort and Casino on Paradise
Not
Island,
this time, he
the
says.
first week of
Over to
January.
Italy in the small blind.
And we get the shove here from Team GP. Houghton all in with a queen and another card.
just, you know, participating in some modern day poker strategy here. He has Queen X. We got Jeff Platt's Italian cousin on the rail, left side of your screen.
I hope he's no relation to the guy who betrayed Michael Corleone and led to Apollonia's death.
I can't say for sure, honestly.
Ace Queen the hand for Houghton, and he has been called by Nicholas Webb from New Zealand.
Great Britain has the ace of diamonds, queen of spade. New Zealand has the king of
Webb
clubs,
with king 5.
Let's see the flop, please.
Don't say that, bro.
Flop is 885.
5 on the flop.
Hearts, 5 of diamonds.
5 alive, possibly dead for the UK.
Ace or queen.
It's gonna come 10-10.
Lawrence says it's coming 10-10. Let's see the turn card.
We heard him. Thanks, Neil.
Turn card is the 9 of clubs. He was mistaken. He meant 9-9. Looking for an ace, a queen, or a 9 for Great Britain in order to double through. Let's see the river card, please.
River card is an ace. And that will be the double up for GB.
GB running hot right now. They chopped when they should have maybe gone broke. Double up when the flop didn't look so hot.
Good hand.
Italy under the gun.
I was calling pretty light.
Yeah, I know.
But not 8 high. Unless it was 8-8.
I had overs.
Fabrizio likes his camera time, doesn't he?
He's a thinker.
He's a thinker. Okay, that's a hand that you maybe don't know what to do short-handed under the gun. And eventually lets it go. This guy cares about his team. You love to see it. All in from Lawrence Houghton. Houghton.
All in with ace 6 again. This time ace 6 of hearts.
I call.
Called by Malta Strassman.
Germany shows ace jack.
And much better than ace 7 this time. Ace jack.
We were there before.
Great Britain is the as-risk team. Great Britain has the ace of hearts, 6 of clubs.
You're a bigger favorite.
Germany has the
Once
ace of
again,
diamonds.
domination. Nations.
Let's see the flop, please.
So Britain came into the final as chip leaders, came into the final as favourites, now on the verge of going out in 5th place.
Ace of spades, 10 of spades, 9 of diamonds.
Whoa.
Both players have flopped an ace, but Germany's in the lead with a jack kicker.
Gonna have to like come king, queen. and
Let's see the
pair.
turn card, please.
I just want to win.
Turn is the 4 of spades. 3
That's
spades
a
on
good
board,
card.
but neither
Now I
player
have
has a
two pair.
spade in their hand.
Two pair was good pick.
At this point in time, Great Britain's looking for a 6.
Only a
The
6.
Yan Hype Man.
Saves the UK. The river is the 3 of hearts, and that will see Team GB eliminated in 5th place, captained by Vicky Corrin. They all cash for $2,000 each, a total of $10,000 to the British team. And we
How
are down to
dare
the
you.
final 4 countries.
How dare you, Lawrence Houghton, cut my time with Vicky Corrin short. Did they yell schlut? What was that? Schlan. You speak German? Pocket 7s for Greg Raymer. Let's see if that German chant got it done. Will it bring them a queen or a jack to defeat these 7s?
7,500 on the button.
Strassman's in on the button.
Small, 4,500. Back to New Zealand in the big blind.
Strassman does make the call from the button, as we said. graphics throw me off a little bit, guys. Sorry. Webb with ace jack in the big blind. Will we see a re-raise?
Just one quick note on the graphics, Joe, because I remember we actually streamed this event cards up. And bear in mind, most streams back in this day were cards down, but because this was a free roll, we did it on a 30-minute delay with the whole cards. I think they've used the original graphics from the cards up live stream on the TV show, which is why they're sometimes a little bit slow to animate.
Yeah.
Just ballpark it. We'll be fine. Just count the yellow. Don't even bother with the pink.
If I can, I would like to just commend whatever this original broadcast was, because I feel like this is pretty modern day graphics. Like, I haven't felt a lack of information other than stack sizes.
Yeah, by season 5, we've started to get it together with the graphics.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Typically, if we would hear this amount of noise in the room, we'd be like, oh, it's the World Cup of Poker, but it's clearly not coming from the World Cup of Poker. So what is that?
I think there might be people in the main event getting overexcited.
Or it could be just the drunken goes that often take place at the PCA.
So another pot for New Zealand. Well, New Zealand currently second in chips. Team Germany have the lead. They have a 6-figure stack. New Zealand on 76k, the USA on 75k. Team Italy now the shortest stack with 65k, and we're still at the 1,500, 3,000 blind level.
And because this was 2009 and because it was a PokerStars event, there's still real money to be won.
Yeah, worth pointing out that the winning team gets $100,000. That's 20k each.
So sick. Free roll.
Yeah. So Michele Migliori has opened here with Queen 8 on the button. Nick Webb with pocket 4s. He has re-raised.
13,000 to the United States to call from the big blind.
Greg Raymer with ace king.
Look, he's trying so hard to not show everyone how excited he is right now. Ace king suited. Oh, yes!
United States announces re-raise.
The Fossil Man is all in.
Italy's going to pass. Back over to New
Fossil
Zealand.
Man is giving them the bone.
Why didn't I just flat with 4s? That's what you're thinking right now, right?
58 more.
Can still hit a sit. Brit.
New Zealand passes the United States.
Jermaine.
Well, the shove gets through to Sean Deeb's delight.
Suited in clubs to show the United States hand.
Good hand, Greg Raymer.
No,
Good
I like
job.
that fast. I knew you made a good fold. You didn't agonize, you know. That wasn't an insta-fold jacks or anything. No.
Germany still lead, but they've closed the gap. The USA now very close in second position. New Zealand on just shy of 60k and Italy not far behind them. And this is getting shallower. And I think the blinds have gone up. We've started a new level and we've got some new faces at the table.
So now, because there's no restrictions, this is going to be whoever the team wants in there.
Correct.
Right?
The only rule is you can't play 2 consecutive levels.
Both of them are going to fold. It's back to the blinds now. New
And here we have Richard Grace. I talked about Karl Marenholtz being a tall guy. Richard Grace is another
Zealand says call from the big
very, very big poker player.
King of spades, king of clubs.
Another whatever moment from Sean Deeb. Let me guess, he got it in bad.
Don't get kings in the small blind.
Jeffrey.
This is Tyler's hand, so we got to get there for Tyler.
Kings versus Queen Jack.
All in with pocket kings. The United States is called with Queen of Spades, the Jack of Clubs.
It's Tyler's hand.
New Zealand is the all-in team. The United States has them covered. Let's see the flop, please.
A little better.
Flop is 4, 4, 10, 4 of spades.
Not the best flop.
Pretty tough for Queen Jack to catch up.
New Zealand is in the lead still with the kings. Let's see the turn card, please. 3 of spades. 3 of spades. Turn is the 10 of clubs.
All right, give me
GG.
That's gonna put the United States drawing.
So that will have Sean Deeb and the US drawing dead. It'll be a double up for Team New Zealand. And I want you to remember Richard Grace's face, Joe, because I have a story about this guy after the conclusion of this event.
Okay, good. I love a story. I love a good yarn, especially about Richard Grace.
Well, that now puts Team USA in the danger zone.
Danger zone? I guess it makes sense. The USA is just like so rich that just like lets people double through it.
The reigning
right.
champions.
Pass Italy on the button now.
Still no word on Ali Najad and Daniel Negreanu. We hope they will be here for the heads up.
The thing is this, is that even if we had Ali, if we had hired Ali to do the retro covers, there's a good chance he would still be this late getting into the commentary booth, so.
You too.
Who's got who?
I got nines. I have them covered.
You got them covered.
Yeah.
New Zealand is the all-in team. New Zealand has the king of clubs.
At least I
and
don't make you
6 of
sweat.
hearts. United States has them covered with pocket nines, 9 of clubs, 9 of spades.
About to be old Zealand.
See the flop, please.
Well, the USA are at risk here.
Comes
And there is a king on the flop. There's the 6 as well, but ultimately it leaves the US in the same position, looking for a 9.
Oh, I can't even get the 9 of clubs. I'm not going to win now.
remaining 2 9s in the deck to double through. Let's see the turn card.
7? Are you?
Turn card is the ace of hearts.
Has to be a 9 on the river, or we are going to be down to the final 3 teams.
To double through. Let's see the river card. It's a five.
No back-to-back World Cup titles for the USA. Team America out in 4th place, cashing for $30,000.
Was he profitable?
America doesn't know how to lose. Greg Grammer's like, what? No, we don't. We're not.
I was feeling lucky too. So.
We don't know how to handle defeat.
And then there were 3. Substitution made on the part of the Germans. Oh, I'm sorry. The USA still have chips. My bad. I thought that they were eliminated there, but they must be super short, right?
The United States announces all in under the gun.
There we go.
Germany passes.
He's got 9s
Remember,
again.
color- Maybe not back-to-back hands, but maybe also back-to-back hands. It happens.
Call from New Zealand.
And Richard Grace calls again, ace 8.
Again. New Zealand has the ace of
I am as big as a
clubs and the eight of
favorite.
diamonds. Reverse to the last situation.
Ace of diamonds? You should have went with ace of diamonds. You should have went to your suit. Then you could have had the backdoor flush draw if you called that.
They're the at-risk team. They're covered by New Zealand with the ace of clubs and the 8 of diamonds. Let's see the flop, please.
Ace of hearts, baby. Ace of hearts.
Flop is queen.
Oh,
Do it the hard way, why don't you?
Lead by flopping 3 8s. Queen of clubs, 8 of hearts, 8 of spades. United States is
Not
looking
with
for a
black
9
nines.
again.
You have your 8s, I have my
Let's see the turn
anti-9s.
card, please. Turns to 5 of diamonds.
Once again,
United States is
the
still
US
looking
find
for the
themselves
red
looking
diamonds
for a 9 on the river.
in order to double through. Let's see the river card, please.
King of clubs.
See four
Okay,
of
well, I was a little bit premature in announcing their elimination, but now Team USA exit in 4th, cashing for $30,000. Now we are down to the final 3 nations in the World Cup of Poker from PCA 2009.
Team USA eliminated with pocket 9s. No, wait, they're still in. Team USA eliminated with pocket nines.
New Zealand, big favourites right now with close to 160k. Germany second on the leaderboard with 86k. Italy the shortest stack with 75k. And remember, the blinds are pretty big right now and the stacks are pretty shallow. 2.5k, 5k the blinds.
We're going to play with a running ante of 500, a small blind of 2,500, a big blind of 5,000.
Everybody on a free roll. Everybody trying to make themselves have a very, very lucrative trip to the Bahamas. Now the big guns are out. Jan Heitman, Luca Pagano.
No, this is where it's supposed to be. Germany's going to raise to, is that 15,000? Yes. Raise to 15,000. Jan, your camera's over there. Hold it.
Come on, Jan Heitman, sort it out.
Can you show these to that camera real quick? Sorry.
It's Luca who's the problem.
So we
Probably
now
for
know
your dumb live stream.
that Heitman has ace 7.
So because this was a live stream, there was no RFID, right?
No.
This was someone punching in graphics when
Correct.
they saw it on the whole card camera.
Correct. Which is why it's essential that the players show their cards to the correct camera so someone's capturing that information. So Richard Gray shoves with the ace-king, Heitman calls, and this could be the end of Team Germany.
7 of clubs for Germany. Germany is the
Jan
aggressive
Heitman
team.
really
New Zealand
wants
has been
some
covered.
hearts,
New
man.
Zealand has the live club draw. Germany has the live
4
heart
of
draw.
them,
Let's see the flop, please.
at least.
Flop comes Jack, 8, 9.
That is not enough hearts.
Jack of diamonds,
Does
9 of
give
hearts.
Heitman a straight draw, though.
The clock, Jeffrey, the clock. Ace King is still in the lead for New Zealand. Germany has picked up a gut shot straight draw to the 10. Let's see the turn card. Turn card is the 8 of hearts.
Opportunities emerge.
A 7 or a 10 in order to double through.
Take a
Let's
9
see the
and a
river card,
jack
please.
just to split it.
And a jack to split. I apologize.
And a 9.
Jacks and 9s to split. It's
It is a
9.
9 on the river. It's another chop pot. And you know what they say? Everyone loves a chop pot.
Oh my god, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's better than the 7.
I'll take the 9, I'm not greedy.
Porca miseria. I'll take the 9 over the 7. I'm not greedy.
James, where does New Zealand rank in your accents as far as charm and or amusement?
Oh, it scores a good 8 or 9 out of 10 for both.
Much more fun.
It's up there, right?
Yeah, it's charming and it's amusing.
Italy on the button. Italy's going to raise all in.
How much is that? 60?
Luca Pagano, on behalf of Team Italy, shoves from the button with Queen Jack of Spades.
500.
I tried. That was a nice try, actually. It was good.
New Zealand passes. Germany makes the call.
And Heitman
Germany has pocket 5s ready.
calls with pocket 5s.
Suited in spades.
C'è un coin flip nella vita, lo vinciamo un coin flip nella vita.
We're going to count. I believe Italy, yes.
Like Germany versus Italy, one of these two hands has a slight mathematical advantage.
Uno nella
Suited
vita,
in
un coin.
spades. Germany has it
One time.
with pocket 5s red.
No, no,
red,
no. Presto.
5 of diamonds, 5 of hearts. Let's see the flop, please.
The 5 started the day.
Queen of clubs, 10 of clubs, 9 of
Not a good
hearts.
flop for 2 red 5s.
Italy
No.
has flopped top pair and an open-ended straight draw. Let's see the turn card. Turn is the 4 of diamonds.
Oh,
I'm gonna get you, Phil. Getting closer.
All right, Italy is going to have to dodge either of the black
It's true, it
fives
is
of
very
death in
close.
order to
4 is
double
almost a 5.
threat. Let's see the river card, please.
It's only 1 away.
It's the king. He makes it through all straight.
the Italians are loving it.
Luca's got a song? Wait, were they saying Luca Pagano, he's for people like you, amazing?
No. They were not ripping off the old Cavendish Woodhouse advert from the 1980s and putting Luca Pagano's name to it. It was a different song they were ripping off and putting Luca Pagano's name to.
Luca Pagano.
Well, should I look?
Jan wants to know if he should look.
You look it?
He did look, and he also pushed. He raised all in.
It's easier to make decisions if you look.
24.
19,000 more.
Overrated.
One time.
Well, I guess we've reached the point of this final table where it is a shove fest, and all we're going to see now are all-ins.
Germany has the 3 of diamonds and the 3 of clubs. Italy has the ace of diamonds and the deuce of clubs. Germany
The
has
way
the opposite
poker's
team at
meant
risk.
to be.
They are in the lead with the 3s.
Ace deuce against pocket threes.
Germany has the better club. Let's see the flop, please. Flop is king 8-8 with 2 diamonds on board.
I hate a
King
counterfeiting.
of diamonds, 8 of diamonds, 8 of hearts.
Can I have a king of spades,
The
please?
3s are still in the lead.
I take the easy way. King of spades.
Can we have the 2 of diamonds, please? Just to make it
Don't
really
do it.
interesting.
Don't counterfeit the 3s. Hit the ace, fine. Running diamonds, fine. Just don't
Let's see the
counterfeit
turn.
the pocket 3s.
I take the queen.
4 of diamonds.
Diamond on the turn.
Alright, now I'm asking for the 7 of spades, if that's
Jan
alright.
is now asking for the 7 of spades. Germany, in order to double through, needs to dodge a 4.
Have a word, ref.
Or the ace.
That's easy. I take the easy.
Let's see the river.
A 4.
The river is a 7 as requested by Jan Heitmann. The Germans love their 7s.
Wait, did he specifically say 7 of spades?
I think he may have done.
The Lee Nelson School of Card Call.
He is a magician.
I know. Look, I know that that's going to happen every once in a while, but still, that's pretty cool.
So Germany double up through Italy after Italy doubled up through Germany. And that means Italy are back to being the short stack.
The answer is yes.
That's right. Spinning me. It's always coming 7 lol.
Still at the 2.5, 5K blind level. Heitmann with 8-7 suited in clubs.
It only says he mavericked that one.
Germany calls.
There's only one poker movie in my book, and it's Maverick.
Heitmann limps on the button.
Luca's going to call. New Zealand's going to take a look at the option. He's going to check his option.
Unraised. Family pot.
Go 3 ways to the flop. Play very, very nice hand. It's a very casual, friendly game.
Check it down, guys. Okay with that?
I want to see the flop.
Alright.
Let's see the flop.
Since we all paid for it.
Flop comes.
Okay, 8-4 deuce.
Cards. Italy's first.
Top pair for Pagano and Heitmann. Wheel draw for Grace.
16,000. Nice friendly flop bet. New Zealand's going to pass. Over to Germany.
Oh,
Germany's going to
not
raise.
quite an all-in.
Luca says all in for Italy.
Luca is all in. So is Germany.
7-8 suited in clubs for Germany.
I think that might have been a swear word.
5-8 offsuit for Italy. They've also flopped top pair.
And Italy are the at-risk
Italy
team
is the
here, right?
at-risk team. They flopped a pair of 8s with a 5
Yes, yes they are.
Germany
At risk
flopped a pair of
and
8s with a 7
behind.
kicker at this point in time. Italy is, however, the only player with that heart in their hand. Let's see
Bastian
the
Wolf has got no camera time whatsoever.
turn card is the king of clubs.
Just a 4
Italy's
or
going to need to
deuce.
find
4
a
and a
5
deuce. Also a 4
or
or
a
a deuce.
4 or a deuce.
This is an even greater insult if
4 will chop
Germany
5
out
over to
kicks
Italy. Let's see the river card.
Italy. That's a soccer joke, everyone.
It's another 8.
And the 7 kicker does play, and that is going to seal the fate of Team Italy. Unlucky Luca Pagano, but you're out in 3rd place. The Italians cashing for $50,000. We're down to the final two teams, the final two countries. It'll be heads up, Germany versus New Zealand for the World Cup of Poker 2009.
For the World Cup of Poker.
Right now, people will take any sport they can get. We've got the Caribbean version of the EPT anthem, complete with steel drums.
I love it.
Germany with a significant advantage right now. Heitmann versus Grace. And Jan stands on a chair to try and match Richard Grace's height.
Oh my goodness.
I told you he's a big fella.
He's like if you stretched out Jimmy Fricke.
I can see that.
All right, Jan and Germany are going to go on the button.
I assume there's not a ton of play that can happen at this point.
No.
20,000. New Zealand calls. Jan has queen 8.
Oh, precision call. How can you do this to me?
Oh, it's like a min raise puts New Zealand all in, it seems like, and New Zealand calls it off.
Didn't realize just how short they were. So yeah, it is domination nation though. New Zealand with queen 9. Germany with queen 8.
Flop comes ace, ace, 7, ace of hearts, ace of diamonds, 7 of hearts. Germany is the only team with a...
What's the chances of a chop here?
Take the turn card, please.
Pretty good, right?
Oh, an 8
Oh,
on the turn.
less good now. And Heitmann's got Queen of Hearts. This feels like GG NZ, but let's see what happens.
Let's see the river card.
The river is a 9.
The wrong 9.
The 9 of hearts, which means it's the flush for Germany. And the Germans win the World Cup. New Zealand are the runners-up. Jan Heitmann congratulates the rest of the team. They share $100,000. Team New Zealand shares $70,000. But the international bragging rights and the all-important trophy go to Germany.
I think it's more the all-important free roll 5-figure prize that's worth a little bit more than bragging rights. Everybody on Team Germany just got $20,000 each on a free roll. Yeah, that's the proper response. Enjoy it.
The Germans are World Cup champions. It was the Brits who came into the final table as chip leaders. They had to make do with a 5th place finish, followed by the USA. The Italians went out in 3rd. The New Zealanders got heads up, exited in 2nd place. The Germans are the World Cup of Poker champions. And this by no means concludes our coverage from PCA 2009. In fact, this is just the first event of many. We've got the high roller to come tomorrow. We've got the main event to come in future days and weeks. But I want to fast forward, Joe, to when I left the Bahamas in January of 09 and what happened on my trip home.
Something about Richard Grace.
Yes, because as often happens when you're traveling back from the Bahamas, you have to go via Miami International Airport, which, as I've always said, when Dante was writing Inferno, I believe he had some kind of prophecy of what Miami International Airport would look like in the 21st century. It's horrific. And inevitably...
There is a reason why the initials are MIA, okay? Missing in action, because that is what ends up happening to most of the luggage and some of the people.
I can imagine that that is true. It's happened to my luggage numerous times, and it almost happened to me physically. Because we did get to a situation where you get delays, you get cancellations, and my flight was cancelled. I was unable to get back to London. I was stranded in Miami. So what the airline does is they put you in a hotel very near the airport. You get on a bus, they take you to the hotel, and they're going to But basically, there's a 24-hour delay because they get a new plane sent out and they fly
give
home
you,
the next day.
sometimes they don't even give you your bags. They just give you like a little overnight kit that has like a T-shirt
I did
and
not
a
have my
toothbrush
bags.
in it.
I did not even get the overnight kit. I had to use the souvenir shop at the hotel very close to Miami Airport to get some essentials, a T-shirt, the classic I Love Miami T-shirt, a change of underwear, a toothbrush and stuff like that. So I wake up the next day and realize that, well, I'm now going to get kicked out of this hotel at like 11 in the morning. And then I've got an entire day of doing nothing. Just waiting, I guess, for the flight.
Oh, I've only ever had a flight canceled and then like immediately like 5 a.m. the next day is
No,
the
no,
next
no.
flight.
The
You
next-
have a whole...
The flight is like 9 p.m., right? So I've got a whole day. So I'm sitting in the lobby of the hotel, and again, this is 2009, so you're able to play on stars from the US. I'm playing a few sit and goes, and this voice behind me is like, oh, what you playing? And I recognize it's Richard Grace, one of the New Zealand team from the World Cup of Poker. And Richard reveals that because he had a nice score, with the New Zealand team finishing in second place, he decided not to get the bus from the airport to the hotel. He went straight to the rental car agency and rented himself a Ferrari and says, would you like to drive around Miami for the day? I'm going to see like what Miami's like. I'm going to drive around in a Ferrari. I'm like, I'm all in. So in this kind of strange Crockett and Tubbs Miami Vice style kind of scenario, I find myself sat next to this giant New Zealander driving a Ferrari, and of course, desperate to find out what this car can do. So really putting it to the limits in Miami traffic, which is a hair-raising experience, taking bends far too quickly and plugging in his iPhone so that we could have the Beastie Boys screeching out of the stereo at full volume. It was
Sabotage? It's got to be Sabotage,
It was
right?
the weirdest tour of any city that I've ever done, but I'm extraordinarily grateful to Richard Grace, and actually we've met up a few times since then. The other kind of part of this story which I haven't told is that my wife at this point is like 9 months pregnant and my daughter is due to be born any day, so I'm quite keen to get home from the Bahamas. I'm worried that I'm going to miss the birth of my daughter because of my cancelled flight, but fortunately I did get home in time and I met up with Richard for a drink shortly afterwards. It was an experience I feared for my life, but it's better than sitting in a hotel lobby or sitting in an airport departure lounge waiting for a night flight home.
You basically had, I don't know what the equivalent of a bachelor party is for a dad, but you had that, right? You had your little adventure. I'm just picturing the two of you guys like knees up to your face in a Ferrari, both of you not short people. And also, people must have thought you were so gay. Like they must have thought driving around South Beach, you and Richard were definitely the toast of the town. The handsomest couple.
I'm pretty
in all
sure
South Beach.
that everyone in Florida has a very open mind about that kind of stuff. So that concludes our EPT retro coverage for today. But don't go anywhere because we've got Scoop on the horizon. So a reminder, tomorrow EPT Retro carries on with the PCA 2009. It's the High Roller event. That concludes our coverage if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. Stay with us on Twitch because we've now got a cards up replay of one of the big events from Scoop 2020. So go nowhere. This live stream continues.